y'all? My name is Brian Sanchez, and welcome to Living the Magic. Today is August 22nd. We are just about 2 weeks away from D23 Expo in Anaheim. If you're unfamiliar with what D23 is, it is essentially Disney's version of Comic-Con, a fan convention. This is where Disney loves to drop all the big announcements for things coming to the theme parks, film projects, Disney Plus, all that kind of stuff. And it's just a big, giant celebration of the most obsessed Disney fans, like the folks that watch this kind of stuff on the internet, and of course, the folks that make this kind of stuff on the internet. And today, I want to go through 5 predictions that I have for what we're going to get at this year's D23. These are not necessarily things that I think 100% are going to be announced, but things that I hope that we get announcements for, and things that I have a feeling we're going to get something related to these. These are the 5 biggest things that I'm looking forward to, hoping that we hear about at D23, which kicks off on September the 11th. So first and foremost, I think if D23 comes through this year and we don't get an announcement about TRON, an opening date, a confirmed opening date for TRON, then I am convinced that TRON is not actually being built at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, and that what we see there is an illusion, because this attraction has been under construction for what feels like 8 years. It's probably only been, I think, like 3, and I understand that COVID shutdowns and things of that nature had a drastic impact on the timetable of this attraction being completed. There was also a video done. Now I'm blanking on who did it. I want to say it was either Offhand Disney or Bright Sun Films, maybe. But talking about that the ground underneath the foundation of this attraction, apparently Disney had a very, very difficult time with the ground underneath this attraction. Sinkholes, stabilizing the foundation, so that set back the timetable of this attraction's opening. But I think originally this was supposed to be completed and opened in time for the 50th anniversary, and we are actually getting closer to the end of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World than we are to the beginning, and still no updates or confirmed announcements as to when this thing is supposed to be open. We have a trip planned in November, so I'm going to say it's going to open in November when we go, to make it very difficult to get on this thing so that we have a hard time and stress about getting on it, and we'll just end up having to buy a lightning lane for it. But yeah, an announcement for TRON, if it doesn't come at this D23, I don't think it's ever actually happening. An announcement that we got at a previous D23 that I think we will actually not hear anything about. And by not hearing anything about it, we can kind of confirm that it's just kind of not happening anymore, is new Epcot, I guess you can call it. There were a lot of projects announced and planned for the revitalization of Epcot. Things that we are in fact getting right now, and some things that are clearly being left on the cutting room floor. Pardon me. Mary Poppins was supposed to be getting an attraction of some kind in the UK Pavilion in World Showcase. There was supposed to be a festival center sort of expansion building on the backside of Spaceship Earth that was supposed to have a statue of Walt Disney, and it was supposed to be like a multi-purpose use space for dessert parties for the fireworks, but also, random events that they could throw in there during food and wine and, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's happening anymore either. I don't think you're going to be getting, announcements, confirmations that any of those things are happening. And unfortunately, I also think that we're not going to be getting the massive update and overhaul of Spaceship Earth that we were promised. I think potentially in years to come, you could see small updates come to Spaceship Earth, maybe some effects that get added in, but I don't think you're going to be getting the massive overhaul that was kind of promised and teased at last D23 that would revamp the story and have it focused on the history of storytelling through, the history of, humanity and the inclusion of like a fiber optic light, the light of storytelling, I think is what they were kind of doing, but it was supposed to be a light that danced around the room like in 3D space, and it was supposed to be some really epic effects and stuff. Unfortunately, I just don't think we're going to get that anymore, and it makes me sad. It really does, but I don't think we're going to be getting that, as well as an entire resort, I think, is going to just kind of magically disappear because they started construction on a resort. I know this isn't Epcot related, but of Reflections, a lakeside resort over by the Magic Kingdom, and like the area was cleared and there was construction, kind of started, and then it just kind of stopped. And I think Disney is kind of just like, hey, don't look over there at that giant empty plot of land, even though we built brand new stables for all the horses and stuff over there that were supposed to be wrapped into that resort. I think they're kind of just like, you know what? Nah, we're good. But yeah, I think we won't be getting any of those announcements, and that makes me sad. But one thing I can almost guarantee you that we're going to get more information about is Marvel. This isn't parks related. This is studio related. But, of course, like I said, D23, they love to roll out the films. And when you're talking Disney at this point at the studios, it's Marvel, Marvel, Marvel. San Diego Comic-Con just passed a few weeks ago, and we got confirmation of a handful of projects that are coming for what is being called Phase 6 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We got new trailers for stuff, and so we'll probably get a bunch of new trailers and some more peeks at the upcoming Black Panther film, which drops in November, things like that. But what we also got was a Phase 6 kind of schedule graphic that Marvel loves to do, where they have like dates, but they're empty slots essentially. That like, hey, there's something coming out in the fall of 2023 and, all that kind of stuff. But, no actual title. So I think that Phase 6 graphic will be filled in. Winter 2024, fall 2024, spring 2025, stuff like that. We'll get filled in with things like a new Spider-Man movie. I think that is probably going to happen. Thunderbolts, Shang-Chi, hopefully announcements and confirmations of season 2 of Loki and season 2 of Moon Knight. Hopefully, that one's a big one for me. I think they're going to be leaning into Marvel pretty heavy, I think, when it comes to the studios. I'm hoping that we get some more information about upcoming Jungle Cruise, Society of Adventures and Explorers series that have apparently been in development for Disney Plus for years and years. And so hopefully we can finally get some information about that, and maybe even our first look at the upcoming Haunted Mansion film. I believe that one's either in production right now or at the end of production and into post-production. So hopefully we get some information about that. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, tons and tons of Marvel stuff. Really hope we get another look at Wakanda Forever and some Spider-Man and more Shang-Chi. In the press release for what was coming to D23, a lot of folks pointed at something that they said could be alluding to Disney announcing a Frozen-themed land coming to Disneyland. An expansion of Fantasyland towards where the motorboat dock is on the edge of Tomorrowland, because they had, in the teasing of the parks panel, it specifically mentioned new Frozen-themed attractions coming. And I think a lot of people freaked out about that and said, oh, they're going to build a Frozen land in Fantasyland in Anaheim. I don't think it's coming to Anaheim. I think what they're talking about is Tokyo Disney Sea, is getting a new revamped addition to Fantasyland. And we already kind of knew from concept art that was released that Frozen was going to be a part of that. Peter Pan as well, and Tangled. All three of those films and stories were, kind of said to be featured fairly prominently in this new addition to Tokyo Disney Sea. And so I think that's what folks are talking about and looking at, and maybe forgetting that this is not just about the North American parks, but this is Disney parks as a whole. And so I think that little mention in the press release about new Frozen attractions coming is meant for Tokyo Disney. And I think that we're going to get an announcement and maybe a little bit more information about the new Fantasyland area coming to Tokyo Disney Sea. I think this is really cool. The concept art looks absolutely fantastic. There's supposed to be a new hotel that's roped into it, along with meet and greets and storytelling in the sets and all that kind of stuff. Disney in the Asian parks is doing things that I really wish they would do in the North American parks. I understand the situations are a little bit different over there than they are here. They have a little bit more room. The creative team is a little bit different, and there's just different situations that allow them to do some different things that they don't necessarily have the ability to do here in the States. But I hopefully will get a chance to go and visit the Asian parks, specifically Tokyo Disney. I really want to go there, and I would really love to go check out Shanghai. So I think we're going to get a ton of announcements for the Asian parks. And I think that's what that Frozen blurb was really alluding to. And so that would leave a lot of Disneyland fans out in the cold, I think, that are expecting new announcements. But I think everyone kind of knows what I'm leading to for this one, and that is I think we're going to get the confirmation of a new Tomorrowland, a reimagined Tomorrowland for Disneyland. Rumors are circulating heavily. We've had Imagineers tweeting out pictures and videos from the parks on the edges of Tomorrowland, talking about how they're excited to be working on attractions and updates and new projects in those areas. And I think, the recent rumors that the new Lightyear film was going to be responsible for a retheme of Space Mountain at Disneyland, I think that is a little bit too far. But I do think that we're going to get an announcement about a revamped, new and improved Tomorrowland. If this ends up being similar to what Epcot announced, and then we only get like half of what was actually announced, even if that happens, I think it would be a fantastic move for Disney. And I really do think this would be a giant crowd pleaser of a thing for Bob Chapek to announce, because if you don't follow it closely, or, if you're unaware, Bob Chapek, the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, is not beloved by the fan base. Let's just put it lightly. Large portions of the fan base, specifically the Parks and Resorts fans, do not like Bob Chapek. A lot of the decisions that have been made, I'm kind of in a little bit of that camp as well. I don't take it personally, but I do not really like a lot of the choices and decisions that have been made in the parks as of late. And he just was given a 3-year extension on his contract to be the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. So he's supposed to be at D23, and typically the CEO is the one leading this Parks and Resorts panel, at least making an appearance, if not up there for the entire thing, and introducing, other folks that are involved in the projects and heads of departments and things like that. And so if you want to avoid your CEO being booed heavily at a convention with your biggest affiliate fans, you got to give them something that they've been clamoring for forever. And I really do think that a new and improved Tomorrowland that brings back the People Mover, that makes improvements and uses the Innovations building better than what it is being used now, and just kind of reimagines that whole area. Because, we did an entire video on the differences between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland a few weeks back, and it was my biggest takeaway from our first trip to Disneyland, was that everything in Disneyland is amazing and near perfect when it comes to theming and upkeep and just immersion until you get to Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland is a mess. Tomorrowland visibly looks like it's falling apart. It's in disarray, in my opinion, and it really, really needs and deserves a lot of love. And so if you want to win over your fans, I think that's the way you can start. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, magic keys, annual passes and stuff, and comments recently about an undesirable mix of pass holders to day guests at Disneyland that we can get into on another video. But I think if you want to score some brownie points with your CEO or for your CEO with your most dedicated fan base, this is where you start. So I think we'll get some kind of an announcement about Tomorrowland getting new and improved, theming, new attractions may be coming, and of course the return of the People Mover. I think that's the biggest thing. If it comes back, I think a lot of folks would be incredibly happy, myself included, and it would go a long way to mending some of the wounds that Disney leadership has given its most hardened fan base. So, but there you go. Those are 5 things that I'm looking forward to for D23. Again, D23 kicks off on September 11th or the 15th. It's the week of the 11th, the 15th. That weekend, we'll cover all of the stuff that we hear, talk about it, give reactions, and hopefully we can try to get some really awesome and fun announcements out of there and have some cool discussions about all of that stuff. What are you looking forward to the most from D23? Do you think we're going to get any of these announcements? Did I miss anything that you are looking forward to, hoping that they announce? Let me know down in the comments, of course, and you can always get at me on the socials, on Twitter and all that. I am at your Primo Brian, and of course in the comments here on YouTube and on the website at signalpointmedia.com/livingthemagic. Well, that's going to do it for me today, folks. Thank y'all so much for listening to the podcast and watching the video. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss any of these random event topics and things like that. We just broke down all the houses coming to HHN for Universal Orlando. We did some blue skying with the Mummy. We talked Disney, we talked films, we talked theme parks, we talked TV shows, Star Wars, all that stuff. So if you're a fan of that stuff like I am, make sure you're subscribed so you can join the discussions and have a lot of fun with us. But again, thank y'all so much for listening and watching. We'll see you guys around. And as always, on the loose.